and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome inside to a Tuesday episode of Running Point on YSN. I welcome you all in. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Anthony Hartley, and we are proudly brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown as we continue to get closer and closer to the weekend, which will have the tip-off of basketball as well as more playoff football over the weekend. It's going to be a fun one. We're not going to waste too much time today because we have a lot of basketball previews to get to. We're going to have two more pre-recorded interviews to play for you guys. We're going to have you hear from Coach Aaron Gilbert from Garfield Girls Basketball, as well as Coach Kevin Longenecker from Waterloo Girls Basketball. And then joining us live on the show at 1:45, kind of to put a ribbon on today's episode, is going to be Carrie Palermo from Mooney Boys Basketball. They had such a good tournament run last year, and we're going to bring him on to talk about that and talk about the new season for the Cardinals as well. They promise to be one of the best boys teams in the area, returning a lot of good talent for the Cardinals. So without further ado, though, so we can get to that, we're going to play our two interviews that we have for you pre-recorded. We're going to start with Aaron Gilbert, the head coach of the Garfield Lady G-Men, today on Running Point.
Welcome in, everyone. Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we go out to Portage County, Garrettsville, Garfield with the head coach of the Lady G-Men basketball team, Aaron Gilbert. Coach, how we doing today?
Great. How you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm curious on how you guys are doing. You guys introduced yourselves to the MVAC, to a lot of us here in the YSN coverage map as well, too, and what your style of basketball was like last year. Very successful a year ago. I know you guys lost some seniors, some familiar faces from years past, but what are some familiar faces you're bringing back this year, and what are some new names we're going to have to get used to out there in the G-Men community?
Yeah, we've got a big core to replace. 4 seniors that have been with the program from day one that really, kind of reestablished that bar of what our program is, getting back to regionals with that, losing Jenna and losing Sarah and Sid and Kate. That's some big shoes to fill, lots of points, lots of stats to fill. But, I think we have a good core that does return, that does understand the style of basketball we want to play, first and foremost with returning with Madeline Shirkey. Shirkey was a starter last year, who, this year we're just going to need her to do a little bit more. Last year she was able to kind of play off of Jenna a little bit and do some things. Now we're going to need her, to step up rebounding game and even scoring game a little bit. Last year we were able to use her kind of as a defensive stopper. This year, that's hard to do, scoring and play defense. So it's just going to be trying to find some people around. Nora Trent, another senior that comes back, saw some minutes last year, in more of a role and probably just needs to do the same, assume that same role that she did last year, which will help us out. And then another little guard that came in off the bench, Maggie Fogel, another senior. Again, another role player that, we're trying to find the role players to continue doing their role so that they don't necessarily feel the pressure of, oh my gosh, now I have to do all this other stuff, when that might not be their strength. So that's really the same thing with Maggie and then with Zoe May and Callie Tasker. They were real role players that hopefully we can kind of keep them in that role. And then, we had a really successful 8th grade group that's now freshmen who won the MVAC in the junior high level at the 8th grade level. And so we have a handful of them out. Most notably, Mandy Cardinal had a great volleyball season this last year as a freshman. Add some height and length, kind of build a lot like Shirky. So that gives us some height and length. Who really had a great AAU summer. She played in a lot of tournaments that our program also attended, so I was able to watch her. And then her teammate from that same program, Carly Clellan, another freshman who right now we're just trying to get her healthy. She had some off-season surgery on her ankle, so we're just trying to get her back and up to speed. So that's really our core group. We've got some JVs that will kind of float, some sophomores that we want to see how they fit. But I think all in all, we're going to be different. We're going to be different than what we did. We don't have that big bruiser inside. Probably try to get up and down a little bit more, change up the style just a little bit, but still stay true to who we are.
And you've mentioned too about culture-wise, you can't really build anything in a year. You need that longevity. So you've seen the ups and you've seen some downs with the program too. You need to stick to your strengths in order to be the most successful that you can be. And what you have out this year and what you've seen in your practices, what are the strengths that you're going to need to stick to throughout the course of the season for you guys to be at the tops of that MVAC and be in the discussions of a conference championship again?
Yeah, I think, if we can stay to our identity, which is, getting the ball up and down the floor, applying a little bit of pressure. I don't necessarily think we're going to have as strong of an inside game as we've had the last couple of years, but I could be wrong. I just think we're able to run a little more this year than last year, which kind of sounds funny because I thought we ran quite a bit last year, but I do think we can look to get out and go. I think we've got some length. I think we've got some athleticism. We've got with the addition, with Laura coming over, that really kind of opens up things of what we're still able to do. She's able to play at a high tempo, and just right now with us, even in scrimmages, practices, right now it's just building a chemistry. The thing about that group that graduated, they played together for years. This group hasn't played together, other than a couple times over the summer, and then just the handful of practices, because even our volleyball made to district, so we've only had the volleyball kids for about a week. Scrimmages have been kind of rough. I did not go easy on the scrimmage schedule. I never do. I just think that you schedule up and you scrimmage up and you kind of get yourself prepared for those types of opponents. 3 of the 4 teams we scrimmage are all D1 schools. We've got 2 more D1s coming up next week with Mansfield Senior and Richfield Revere. I understand, how that prep is going to help us in the long run. I've sensed some frustration, from the kids a little bit, and it's getting that chemistry together, and knowing who's supposed to take this shot, who's supposed to take that shot, what spot am I supposed to be in, and not stepping on each other's toes, getting them out of the thinking process. We're doing a lot of thinking right now. I see it in practice where we're not reacting, we're thinking, and it's just, okay, we have probably a third of the things that we ran the last couple of years in, just because we're trying to remove the thinking. We want them just to play. That other group had been, you're looking at 3 girls that were 4-year starters basically. And now you've got, Shirky's a 3-year starter, and that's it. Everybody else has been role players and floated even. And so, but I like this group. Not that I didn't like any other group, but I like this group. I like their work ethic. I like their attitudes. And it's just that chemistry. That's the biggest thing that we're trying to build right now, working up to November 19th.
And you talked about Madeline Shirky being that returner, and it's a player I do want to highlight a little bit because I got a chance to see her a lot throughout the volleyball season, 1,500 plus assists there, and she's an absolute menace on the hardwood there. Not even her first sport either, according to her family and various sources either. So how beneficial, I should say, is it going to be to have her at that at least centerpiece where everyone else is trying to find their role and find where they fit into the team, to know you kind of have that point guard where that ball, it can get dished through Madeline too, and you can kind of put a check mark there and know that that's going to be okay.
Yeah, I really saw last year, I really saw that emergence as a leader, where we were a different team when she was on the floor and off the floor. I saw that leadership role I saw the girls look to her because even though we had the players last year, we had a lot of quiet personalities. And, you may assume Jenna was the leader. You may assume Sarah was the leader. And they led in their own ways. But Shirky was a little bit more of the vocal leader. She was a little bit more of the when things happened, her energy kind of sparked people. We joked for the last 2 years, our energy bugs had been, her and Kate Lutz. I mean, those two were our energy bugs that no matter when we put them in, our energy level, went way high. And, we still have one of those energy plugs right now. And Shirky's doing a good job of talking things through and asking questions. And again, we're asking a little bit more out of her this year. And it's just like, last year you were a little hesitant on this year. I need to do it. Like last year, you might kind of look to pass that shot up. No, take that shot this year. But her length and her athleticism, I think is a huge asset, that she just gets it. And she runs the floor really well. We've put her at the point, we've put her at the 4. We can put her at a lot of different places, and doing that allows other people to kind of play their natural role. It allows Mandy to kind of grow a little bit as the year goes on, and allow Carly to grow a little bit this year, allows Laura to be a little bit more comfortable this year. So it's just trying to get, having her is huge. Like I can't underestimate how we didn't have her at practice yesterday because she was playing in an all-star game, and our practice was totally different just with her not being there. Like you could just tell she's an important piece to this whole puzzle.
And you look at you talked about the efforts of making these kids more reactionary rather than thinking about it too. And with a lot of younger players fighting for starting spots too, I'm sure there's a lot of competition in practice too. So in saying that, I've been kind of asking this question throughout a lot of coaching staffs. I'm going to ask it of you as well. With all these spots that are available, starting minutes, I'm sure are now at a premium. A lot of girls can get them now. What are the things you're looking for as a coach, and what is your coaching staff looking for those girls that want to get those starting minutes, want to take that next step up? If they want a spot or a role on this team, what are the things you're kind of looking for in practices and throughout?
You kind of look at the Patriot way, right? Do your job. We're going to tell you, if you're not sure, we will tell you what we need out of you on the floor. I've never been a coach to say, go up to a kid and say, I need 20 points out of you tonight. Hey, I need this, I need this. It's we need you to rebound tonight. I don't know what those numbers are going to be. I need you to rebound tonight. I need you to, look for your teammates tonight. I need you locked down on defense. I really feel like our defense has got to fuel our offense. We're kind of struggling right now on the offensive end. But when we've been able to score, it's because our defense has done a quick transition. So really, if you want to play for us, it's effort every day, making sure that you give that constant effort. And again, it's do your job. Like we've got 4 coaches, me included, that are watching you constantly, and we're making observations, and we're trying to find where you fit in the puzzle. Like I really feel like a lot of people try to make players do things they're not capable of doing, then they get mad at the player. Well, if the player's not good at that skill, then you got to find something else for them to do. Like I've got a 5'3" guard. I'm not going to tell her you need to go get 10 rebounds a night. Like, my God, like really? Like it's not going to happen unless she's just like a freak athlete. But if I tell her, hey, when you're in, your shot, take that shot. Like if you're open, take that shot. If you're on defensively, I need you to lock your girl up. That's what I need out of those players. So, it's when your opportunity comes, make the most of it. But most importantly, do your job. Don't try to step on somebody else's toes by becoming a scorer if we don't need you to be a scorer. Like your job might just be to play defense and get rebounds. Then that's what you got to do. The scoring could just happen because people are doubling up here, doubling up there. I think that's one of the things that with Shirk, going back to Shirky, her scoring happened because people doubled up on Jenna. So you're going to leave Madeline open, and she's a fully capable scorer. Going back to last year, same with Kate, same with Sid. If you're going to double up on Sarah, those two are very capable of scoring some points. So just when your opportunity is there, make the most of it. And most importantly, do your job. If you don't know what your job is, ask us. We'll tell you what your job is. We'll tell you what we need out of you on the floor.
You mentioned the schedule that you guys have in the scrimmage and I look at your schedule again too, and it's already great. I know you had to pick up 1-2 because of the unfortunate Jackson Milton season coming to an end early this year, but the non-conference schedule opening up with Bristol too, some really good non-conference games on top of the fact that you got a really good MVAC slate. You talked about scheduling up. I'm sure you give this one an A too, but just to kind of go a little bit in depth, what do you think these non-conference games, what are you looking to specifically challenge these girls in these non-conference games before the tournament?
I think that, like with the football playoffs, I think your schedule shows your character as you go deeper into the playoffs. I think our schedule last year goes deeper. It shows us how we scheduled up and how we go deeper into, tournament realm. Getting beat by West Branch 30 points, first game of the year, that's that reality check. Walt comes up afterwards. He goes, "You guys are going to be fine. You're going to be fine." Okay. You just beat us by 30. I don't really think we're going to be fine. But then we end up 19-7 and get to regional semis. So it did end up being okay. But I think, put yourselves in a situation, you don't want to be scheduling people you're going to get beat by 30 and 40 every night, but you want to schedule against people that you're competing with. I looked at our 7 losses last year, and 6 of them were in regionals. 6 of those 7 losses, Liberty and West Branch and Fort Fry, and those teams, those are regional teams, so you're not losing to slouches. You're not losing to people who are going 500 or, 2-20. So, I know Fish didn't do me any favors going over to South Range and putting me against Mooney and Nordonia, but, it's like, but at the same time, it's non-conference, it's middle of the year. For us, that tournament was our turning point. I mean, we were 2-5. We just got beat by Fort Fry on a last second 3-pointer. We're 2-5. We turn around the next night, beat Nordonia by 20 and go 16-2 the rest of the way. So, I think that can help us. You talked about, losing the Jackson Milton game because of numbers, then we turn around and pick up Springfield, who's 21-5 and have pretty much their whole team back. So, there's a good quality test. I think halfway through January, I think is when we picked them up. So that's a test in there. So yeah, I mean, you want to play people that are going to get you ready to go where you want to go. 2 of the years that we made it to regional finals, our only Division III losses were in the regional finals. So like you want to test the waters. You obviously don't want to beat yourself up so much that you can't compete in the league. And with our league, I mean, you got to put some wins in somewhere. And it is going to be, I mean, when you go, champion Liberty back to back, and then you throw Crestview in this year, which I truly think they're one of those teams that is going to be underappreciated this year. And I think they can kind of sneak up on a lot of people. You already know what Liberty's got back. You already know what you're going to get out of a champion squad. Brookfield with Sophia, what you're going to get out of them. Falls returns every player. It's you got to find some wins, but you want to build to get those wins by playing these other teams. And, Bristol's basically my whole old junior high staff. So they know everything we're going to do. Randy's got our whole playbook. He knows what we're going to do. He's going to sprinkle in his own stuff. So that's a good one to start off with because they're in a little bit of a rebuild after losing, just like us, a very talented senior class.
You talk about that, Coach, but I mean, it's one of those cases. You teach them everything they know. You don't teach them everything right?
Yeah, I don't give the whole playbook. I've got some stuff. It's like I've got some former players coming back for that game, and I'm like, you're not going to necessarily recognize everything we're doing because I've changed things over the year. And this year we can't do everything we did last year. So we got some wrinkles in there. We got some different things that we're going to do. We have to be successful. We got to adapt. I can't dig my heels in the ground. So this is the only thing we're going to run. I got to change it up to fit our kids. And my job is to put us in the best situation to win, and be able to compete in all 22 plus games.
Just how every season teams are different. You got to adjust and play with the team you got. Sometimes, coaching staffs change. Sometimes they stay the same for years, but I like to still meet the coaching staffs year in and year out. So who do you have helping you out on the Garfield staff this year? And who are some other big names in the program that you'd like to shout out?
I've got, thankfully we do have the same staff coming back. Madison Hartong's going to have the JV again. My right hand, my person who probably knows me the best on the team, Taylor Smith, is back. She played for me on my very first team here. And she's been coaching with us now for quite a while and kind of does all the behind the scenes stuff with the kids and with the program. And then Andy Cardinal is still with us, which will be a little different having a dad on the bench. I'm not used to that. I played for my dad, so I know how that goes. But, having a dad on the bench, he's, I think he's kind of feeling out the waters too with that. And then junior high level, we actually have 2 former Garfield kids that are down there. I've got Zach Smith, who played on the boys squad a couple years ago. He's going to coach our 8th grade squad. And then McKenna Lawrence, who played for me, her and her sister Emma are going to help out at the 7th grade level. So it's kind of nice to keep the Garfield family intact, especially with those younger kids, to get them to, see what it takes. And the nice thing with like McKenna and the nice thing with Taylor is they know what's expected in the program. They know what we're about. They know what the end game is. And so that's a big thing. But I like this year's team. I think we've got some different qualities. I think it's going to be competitive. I think there's some kids. I don't think positions are locked up, and I've kind of told them that this group may be the ones that are scrimmaging, but come December, come January, there's some kids that I think are going to be pushing for time, and something we haven't had in a while with competition for true competition for spots. I think that's going to bring out the best in us.
Well, Coach, we're certainly excited for it. We wish you the best of luck as you travel through a very tough gray side of the MVAC. You could catch the Garfield Lady G-Men as they open up on November 19th at home against Bristol, as Coach Aaron Gilbert goes for another season with the Garfield Lady G-Men basketball team. This has been another edition of Coach's Corner with Garrettsville Garfield head coach Aaron Gilbert.
I muted myself. That's a rookie mistake, Anthony. Way to start off a Tuesday. But that was head coach Aaron Gilbert from Garrettsville Garfield. Every time we have him on the show, he's just a great interview, great guy. We thank him for his time giving it to us. And you talk about Garfield girls, man. I don't care what they lose. They always seem to be coming back the next year. They're a tradition-based program. Aaron Gilbert has won way more than he's lost. So they're going to be good, but you look at that MVAC grade tier and you're thinking, where are they going to pick up wins? It's going to be tough. Every team in that conference is going to beat each other up. And, you might see 3 or 4 teams come out with 6 or 7 losses that are all good enough to make a tournament run with Champion. You have Brookfield, you have Liberty, you have Garfield, and then you have Crestview in the mix. And then he threw in Newton Falls, who I think is going to be a little bit under the radar. They return everybody. One of the only teams in the whole area that really didn't graduate at least one major key piece of their team last year. So with so many great seniors graduating last year, teams like Newton Falls coming out of the woodworks with a lot of experience could be a little bit of a wild card in that MVAC grade tier. But so many good teams in that conference. It's going to be tough to get out of it. And whoever wins it is going to earn it. That's for sure. Liberty won it last year. And then Brookfield, and then Champion, and then Garfield. You look at the district champions. There were Liberty and Garfield. They both went to the regional semifinals. Unfortunately, they both lost in the regional semifinals. But we had a chance for an all MVAC grade tier regional final. I mean, we always talk about all YSN regional finals. How about all one conference regional final? That was definitely an exciting conference to watch last year. It'll be exciting this year with all those teams with still a ton of talent on their roster. So we'll go right from that. We'll go into the other side of the MVAC with a MVAC reigning champion Waterloo girls basketball team. Coach Kevin Longenecker had a chance to catch up with Ty earlier last week as well. Let's hear from the Vikings from the MVAC Scarlet tier.
Welcome in all you basketball fans, all you YSN fans, as I'm in with another basketball coach's corner. This time we travel to Atwater, Ohio. Coach of the Waterloo girls basketball team, Kevin Longenecker. Coach, little bit of time, long time no see. How you doing?
I'm well, Ty. It has been a while, and I always get excited when football starts because those 10 plus weeks just seem to roll by, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And I mean, I'm sure you guys have been putting in a lot of work getting up and getting ready for the season. Before we get into the meet the team, before we even get into the season, I want to talk about last season too, and just kind of recap last season and
Sure.
What a great story it was. You guys come away conference champions, realistically playing 6 girls relatively the entirety of the season, and they go through a very tough MVAC Scarlet division and they win the conference championship. Good building block, good foundation to lay. I know you guys want to build from that and you want more, but just to speak on that from last year's perspective, What did that mean to you? What were the challenges of coaching a team with, less than 10 girls? And what can you say about the girls who were able to manage and come through? As we can see them on the soccer field, they were having a great season this year too.
Yeah, yeah. Just to kind of go in that order a little bit. I mean, the kids, it presented a lot of challenges that I had never been exposed to in all my years, either as a head coach, as an assistant. Maybe back to my playing days, I did experience that one time, that small of a group. So, we just had to develop a mindset of kind of, us against the world mentality a little bit, control the things we could control. And, we were blessed with good health for the most part, and stayed away from, foul problems many nights. And, the kids performed well in a very challenging conference. And yeah, we want to build off of that for sure. And, kind of fast forward, almost all of our kids, except one or two, were involved in fall sports, and the majority of those were on the soccer team. And shout out to Coach Jackson and those guys for what they accomplished. And winning breeds winning. And was just thrilled to see those guys make the run that they did into the district title game.
Well, you had a little bit of issues with numbers last year. You sent me the roster. I was looking it over. Not so much the issue this year. You guys got an influx. Yeah, winning also brings some people, I guess, onto the team. Why don't we get a chance to meet this team? I know there's going to be some familiar faces. I know
Sure.
you're just now getting some of these girls because their soccer season went so long. But why don't we get a chance to meet this team this year?
Yeah. I mean, our varsity core is back from the 8 players we had. 7 are back. One was an exchange student, lives back. But Rose Couts, Abby Mazer, Lily Foster, Kaylee Webb, Kara English, Jewel Lilly, and Araceli Camacho are all back from that group. And we add some things, which it's really going to help us down the road. We're looking forward to being able to play a JV schedule. So we have a lot of new faces this year. And, new is a term that we'll just use. It's the game's new to some of them. And, the program's new. We have a freshman, Morgan and Miley Jones, Cameron Lynn, another freshman, Brooklyn, is a freshman. And then we have Samantha Ward, who is actually a sophomore, or junior, excuse me, they'll be out. And then, we have some exchange students, which we've had great experience with exchange students, just the relationships we build. And, their presence is going to allow us to get some JV minutes for some of these freshmen. So we're excited to get to know them, and literally just met one for the first time yesterday as we got things rolling.
Well, I mean, I always love the exchange students too, just because the experiences they bring over, and just having that assimilation of cultures too within a team.
Yeah.
I think it can be really beneficial for sure. You mentioned the girls that you're bringing back, and it's that core team that was able to win the conference a year ago. What have you seen growth and development wise from those older girls, your Rose Couch or Kara English? I know those older girls that you're going to be leaning on heavily going into this season.
Yeah. Experience, over the summer as well. And, one of the newcomers we're really excited about, Bailey English, had a great summer with us, and just excited there for what she brings to the table. I just, the kids want more. The kids want more. So I thought that was prevalent in how we played this summer. But as we got through our summer stuff, our full focus for these guys was focus on what you're doing, but be where your feet are. And so for most of them, that was soccer. And, very proud of what they accomplished there. And, we're, by many standards, we're behind the 8 ball. And we knew that going in. Yesterday was our first full practice with everybody. And, So a lot of teams are 8, 9, 10 days ahead of us in that regard. That's okay. I would much rather be in our position, where we are now to where we've been in some years past.
Coach, I'm looking over at your schedule too, and obviously you guys are going to play a boatload of games inside the conference. That always takes up a bulk of it, but you are not messing around in the slightest with this non-conference. Brookfield and Champion highlight the other side of the conference, but I'm also seeing Akron St. V's, an Alliance team in a tough EBC conference. What can you say about this schedule put together? And it seems like you guys really want to challenge yourself this year.
Yeah, I don't know who's responsible for that schedule, Ty, but man, we need to get that guy fired. No, that would be me. We just, I've always been a fan of Tom Izzo, and Michigan State challenges themselves in their pre-conference schedule year in and year out, and we just felt like we wanted to do that. Alliance, last year Alliance was a team that beat us, and we've had a good series with them over the years, and they're a very strong team, so we felt that was a good game to leave in place. And then, of course, you've got, district finalist Brookfield in there, Champion. Got talking with Carly a little bit at St. V's, and one thing led to another, and we've got them on the schedule. And we just feel that those are going to be great experiences for us as a team, and taking it one day at a time. And we're starting slow, and we've got 3 of those games right out of the gate. So baptism by fire.
No doubt. Hey, Coach, we mentioned you mentioned having the scheduling responsibility. It seems like you have a lot more responsibilities on your plate. I'm hearing that Mike DeV's got you into the AD office now as one of the assistants. What went into the decision to take that extra step and take on the extra responsibilities for the high school and to be representative of all Waterloo athletics in that athletic department?
Well, it was a good opportunity to get a little deeper involved with where I am with Waterloo, and for me, it was a no-brainer. Mike and I enjoyed each other's company over the years, and I just look forward to continuing to grow in that position, and bring whatever I can to the table to help grow Waterloo athletics. So not just our women's basketball team, but athletics in general.
Looking at that basketball team, though, I mean, a lot more faces, a lot more girls to manage now. So curious, what is the staff looking like for this 2022-23 edition of the Waterloo Lady Vikings?
Well, pretty much, no new additions. We changed faces at the middle school level there, but Leah Lulai is a grad and alum of the program, will be our JV/varsity assistant, and it keeps us busy, and we're figuring some things out. We have 2 distinctly different groups, so managing that is a task that we're growing into learning how to do.
Well, last year, going into this position at this point last year, you guys were the chasers. Maybe not a ton of people were looking at you as conference champs a year ago. Now the target's on your back. So
right.
There's got to be a little bit of a mental shift in that. What are some things you guys are going to need to check mark to get another conference championship under your belt? And what does that mental shift look like now that the target is on your back?
Well, I think a lot of people assume that, we have all the pieces back, so it should be easy. Well, if you've never walked in these shoes, and anybody that has knows it's not easier. One championship the first one's a lot easier than getting the second one, and anybody that's gone through the battle will tell you that. Because you are marked, and we could even see that as the season progressed last year. So you're going to get everybody's best effort night in and night out. So our preparation has to be great, and our mindset has to be still control the things we can control. There's just some things we have no control over. We have to be where our feet are, and bring. We talked yesterday. We basically have three standards for the team: be early, bring energy, bring effort, and everything else we can work out. And that's what we need, and that's what I've loved about this group is our effort and energy is off the charts, and these kids really bring it. And excited to see them spread that to this younger group who's going to be taking their lumps and learning the game, and see how that goes.
You mentioned being happy with last year's results, but still hungry, never satisfied, as most athletes
Sure.
could be. In saying that, what are the things you want to see improvement-wise from the girls that are coming back? What needs to improve for you guys to take that next step and continue your improvement in this program?
Well, I think we have to continue to grow on the offensive side of the ball. We really want to develop more shooting, consistency in our shooting, continue to grow in our decision making that way. And then at the defensive end, communication is something that I think we're going to have to continue to grow. And when we do those things well, we're a pretty good team. It's the times that we struggle in those areas that we're not. So just right now, it's knocking the rust off, and because a lot of the kids have been, maybe they picked a basketball up in the driveway or something, but it's they've been in soccer mode, and we love that. So we're making the shift and knocking the rust off, and got some good scrimmages coming up. Teams will pound us around a little bit, and that'll be good for us.
Well, Coach, the final question is not even really a question at all. I want to give you an opportunity to spotlight the program and a little bit of shameless self-promotion. Shout out to all the Waterloo community, what they can expect from this team this year and why they should come out and support this year.
Well, the community loves their athletics, and we had great support through the fall seasons, football and soccer. And, that's going to continue in the winter. So, the girls team is going to be fun to watch. The boys team is always fun to watch. They're playing an exciting brand of basketball. We got wrestling happening. Coach Foster's getting that things going again there. And so, when the snow's flying, it's warm in the gym. Come on out, and you're going to be entertained.
You certainly will be entertained. I personally cannot wait to get back into that gymnasium too, to see you guys.
Looking forward to seeing you.
You guys perform once again. You guys could get all of the Waterloo Lady Vikings basketball games and Coach Longenecker with this 2022-23 season on ysnlive.com. This has been another edition of Coach's Corner with Ty Bartell.
That was Coach Kevin Longenecker from Waterloo taking the time to join Ty Bartell earlier last week, and that's going to be a voice that you're going to hear a lot if you're a Waterloo fan. Ty Bartell is going to be in that gym quite a bit as our cover man for the Waterloo girls basketball team as their home season starts in a little bit. They start the season on the road though. No, they do start at home. Let me hold on. Tee out. Let me double check. Now I'm second guessing myself. Waterloo does start at home. On Monday, November 28th, they welcome in Brookfield, so an inter-MVAC tier matchup between two really good teams, and you're going to see Kara English and Rose Couch squared up with Sophia Hook, and that's going to be an interesting matchup to see how those two both defend and how they're able to score on each other. Brookfield lost a couple of key players, but returned most of their core. Waterloo returns just about everybody from last year's team, and plus Coach Longenecker stated they're adding a couple too. So Waterloo is looking to be one of the best in the area, especially trying to repeat as the MVAC Scarlet Tier champions. They will have to contend with a very good Western Reserve team that, remember, is getting back Lisa Eichert. She didn't play most of the basketball season last year because she got hurt towards the end of volleyball season last year. So Lisa Eichert should be back on the basketball floor, as well as Olivia Hughes and Allie Jones and Brooke Shantz. A lot of good players on that Western Reserve team. And then you go into Springfield, who returns just about everybody from last year, too. So you're going to have to deal with Natty Lesnack, JC Mullen, Jamaica Brungard, and company in Springfield. And that's going to be an interesting matchup between all three of those schools as they duke it out for an MVAC Scarlet Tier Championship this year. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get ready for Kerry Palermo from Cardinal Mooney. He's joining us at 1:45 to talk about his Cardinals team and what they have to look forward to this basketball season. Don't miss that on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Or visit us on the web. Check us out online at MyersFamilyINS.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you here, and we are going to close out this show with an interview with the head coach of the Cardinal Mooney boys basketball team and a good friend of the show. It's good to have you back. Good to be back in the basketball kind of feel. Kerry Palermo from Cardinal Mooney. Coach, thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Thanks for having me. I love talking to you guys.
you got it last year. 145 was kind of the good mojo time, so we figured we'd just keep you at this time slot, and it would bring you good luck throughout the whole season. Talking about last year, we didn't really get a chance to talk to you after the season to kind of recap it. I know you had a really great tournament run. When you look at the film from last year, especially with the players that are returning from this year, what kind of things do you take from last year? And just kind of give us a recap of what you saw from the boys last year in the season.
Our culture, our culture in our program is very good right now, very strong. It's something that we've worked hard to establish over the past 6 years. And, to outsiders last year, we graduated 2 years ago now, Michael Pelini and Thomas Fire, who were both 3-year starters and all district and all conference, players. To outsiders, they probably thought last year was going to kind of be a step back for us. And, it took us a couple, probably a month and a half to figure out who we were and define roles for players. But with a strong culture and strong leadership like we've had, we ended up playing our best basketball at the end of the year. We defended like we normally defend. We held teams to under 42 points per game, which is pretty tough considering the schedule we play. And, we got in the tournament and there wasn't a game that our kids didn't think they can win. And just having that mentality, no matter, who we're putting out there, no matter their skill level, knowing that our kids are bought into understanding they're going to do whatever they have to do and fulfill whatever role they have to fill in order to give ourselves the best chance to win is something that makes me and our coaching staff very proud. And coming into this year, when we return 3 starters, we return our second and third scorers, and we have a very, very, very talented junior class. There's going to be 7 juniors that play for us. And probably the most talented group that we've had, and they really understand our program. These kids have played as freshmen and sophomores on JV, and they've won 31 games in 2 years. Just carrying over that culture, carrying over that mindset is something that I'm looking forward to with this group.
All right, with all that, you kind of teased this roster. Let's dive deeper, meet the team a little bit, give us some big names that are going to pop up in this program, and maybe some returning starters, and then some new faces that the Mooney fans might be able to see featured this season too.
So our returning stars will be senior Jackson Mino. He's a defensive player for us. One of our hardest workers in practice. It's a tough, hard-nosed kid. Rocco Turner is our leading returning scorer. Started as he's going to be a junior this year. He started as a sophomore. Really good shooter, very good first step offensively, and really becoming a vocal leader for us. He was a state champion golfer in the fall. Ashton O'Brien is another junior for us. Started as a sophomore, really the second half in the whole tournament run. And I think if he wasn't our leading scorer in the tournament, he was close to it, probably getting around 15, 16 a game in the tournament. Really shoot the ball. He's a long kid, very athletic, can score in a number of different ways. Very good defender, plays the top of our press. He's actually a starting quarterback on our football team. So, we're going to look for him to fulfill a leadership role as well. Some juniors that we're expecting a lot of, and they're kind of newcomers as far as regular varsity time, but all of these guys lettered. Jabri Carter was our point guard on the JV team the last couple years, and we'll look for him to handle the ball. He's a very, very smart basketball player, very high IQ, can really shoot the basketball well. Nick Pregabon is another guard that's been a starter on our JV team the last couple years, junior. He is extremely skilled, good ball handler, can finish with both hands, good shooter. He's a starter on the state semifinal soccer team. A very good player there. Will Desmond is a post player we're looking at. He's a 2-way starter on the football team. Played the post on JV team the last couple of years. Athletic kid, strong, really runs the floor extremely well. It really will just do anything you ask him to do. Dom Graziano, another athletic kid, quick feet, good defender, good outside shooter, another soccer player, big contributor on that team. We have a transfer named Eddie Nieves, who came from Lordstown. He's about 6'4", 6'5", very athletic kid, very, very, very skilled. When he gets acclimated with our program, I think you're going to hear some big things out of him. And other than that, there's one kid I should mention. He got hurt It really, really stinks. Kid named Nolan Radinsky is a receiver on the football team. He hurt his knee in their game against Creston Norwayne. 6'2", 6'3" kid, really good shooter. We're really hoping at some capacity we could get him back at the end of the year. So those are the kids that we're really looking forward to be major contributors for us. And there are some really talented freshmen that we have. There's 3 or 4 that are probably going to play a ton of JV, maybe have a chance to address, and we're looking forward to seeing what those guys have the next couple of weeks now that all the fall sports are done.
All right, so a couple guys I want to really highlight, and I want to start with Rocco Turner because he's a guy that we started to talk more and more about at the end of the season last year, and we really saw him blossom in the tournament and really step up for you guys. And now he comes into this season as a state champion, right? Like he knows exactly what it takes to get to that peak of athleticism. What does that do for this program when you can have someone that knows what work ethic it takes, what standard it takes to reach that goal? Even though it's an individual sport like golf, it's still the same thing. You still have to do the same work and the same kind of work ethic. What's it like to bring someone like that into your culture, into your locker room?
It's massive. We're big believers in the process. We're big believers in you get, the results you get are based on the time that you put in, and you don't become a state champion. You don't become a district champion like we've been the last 2 years, basketball, without putting the time in. Rocco is a very, very, very mentally tough kid. You cannot play golf and excel at it without being mentally tough, and he carries that over into basketball. Sometimes when he does make mistakes and get in trouble, it's because he is very confident and very, very confident in his decision making and what he does, and maybe sometimes doesn't know what his own limitations are. But at the end of games, the moment's never too big for him. He's a guy that, even as a sophomore, we're in the regional game, we're in the district championship, and we're trying to inbound the ball to him to get to the free throw line because he doesn't feel the pressure. He's sat over, probably hundreds and hundreds of putts, in golf where, he needs to make this to stay in the tournament or to win a tournament. And, things like that just don't faze him. And that's trickling down to our other players, him, Jackson Mino, and when we get Ashton O'Brien back, they've been very vocal in practice and letting them understand just how, tough you have to be, to play deep into March and have the seasons that we've been having.
And then you brought up Ashton O'Brien, who, took another step as a quarterback this year as a football team. But one thing you can carry over, no matter what sport you play, if you're a quarterback, is vocal leadership. You have to be a vocal leader to be a quarterback. No way around it. How much do you think you're going to lean on his vocal leadership this year and his ability to be a coach for you on the floor when you can't say what you want to your team?
I think, definitely a ton. As vocal as those guys are that we're talking about, I don't think the players will respect you if you're just someone who talks. If you don't back it up, if you don't put the work in, if you're not the hardest worker, if you're not the first one in the gym, the last one to leave, they're not going to respect that. So those guys that we're naming, they all, have those qualities. They're in the gym when it's not scheduled. They're in the gym at 6:30 in the morning with me 3 days a week. That's going to be huge for us. But again, if they don't back it up with their work, the vocal leadership doesn't matter. But it is very important. We have a lot of guys coming back, but we do have 5 newcomers, right? Having people that can communicate on the floor during timeouts, at the free throw line, in the game, getting us set, helping do different screen exchanges and whatnot, getting them set on offense. That kind of stuff's invaluable. That could be the difference from a 10-win team to a 15-win team.
All right, and a lot of wins are going to have to come out of this conference schedule, so let's dive into it. That Steel Valley Conference is no joke in boys basketball. What's it going to take to kind of grab the conference championship and to be able to compete inside this conference?
Well, I mean, I think I think our postseason runs, us and Shane, we've won 2 in a row. They've won 3 in a row. Ursuline's won 16 games. I think they won 16, 17 games last year, something like that. And East is going to be really improved from last year. They played a ton of freshmen. They got all those kids back. I think they added a couple players. If you just see what we do in the postseason and see how we stack up against other conferences and teams, kind of speaks for itself. What do we have to do to compete in that conference? I think we went 3-3 last year. We've been pretty much 500 the last couple years in the conference, last 3 years. You just can't dwell on any defeats. You can't dwell on any, you can't be, excited or over happy. I don't know the word I'm looking for when you do have a victory. I remember we opened up the conference and we beat East and Cheney back-to-back last year. Then we played our worst week of the year, the next week. We came out, we lost to Ursuline on a Tuesday, we lost to Cheney on a Friday, lost to Boardman on a Saturday. In a dime, we went from 8-3 to 8-6, and people went from can anybody beat them to what's going on with them. So you just can't settle, you can't relax. And if you want to beat any one of us, I think you have to put together a 32-minute game, a full 32-minute game. And that comes with mental toughness, and that comes with all the work and preparation that goes into it. And talented. There's a lot of talented players in the SVC.
With only 6 conference games, you get to play a lot with a non-conference schedule and go out and play teams that are just going to only test you for the tournament. That's really the only point of playing them. How excited are you for this non-conference schedule? Who are some of the teams that pop up on your schedule that are outside of the Steel Valley Conference?
So, we do play a very tough conference, schedule. As far as this area, we play the best teams in this area. We play the All-American Conference for crossover games, Harding, Canfield, Fitch, Boardman, Howland. All those teams had successful seasons last year. We play all of them. But going out of this area, we've played the last 2 years, our seasons ended, to Luther and East. As good as the conference we play in we play the best teams in this area. Unfortunately, there's no team in this area that can prepare us for that game. And if we want to get to the next step, getting down to, I think it's Dayton this year for the final year. If we want to get there, then we have to schedule better teams. So like right now we're scrimmaging, Luther and West, the Twinsburgs, Cornerstone Christians. In this summer we play the Villa Angelas. We play over the Newcastle Summer League and play against Newcastle in all those big powerhouse 5A and 6A schools in Western PA. We've added Menor to our schedule. I think they're going to be the Plain Dealers, #1 team in Cleveland. We're playing Massillon Jackson. Both of those teams in the last 10 years have won Division I state championships. So we understand that we're going to have a few losses like we did last year. It might hurt us during seeding time, but that kind of experience against that competition is invaluable when it comes to playing in our district.
I think your football team just proved how unimportant seeding is, and schedule is way important than seeding. When you look at your staff that you've put together to close out this interview, I want you to highlight the staff that you have behind you, because obviously you get the interviews, but you can't do it without the great people that you have working with you. So who do you have working with you this year, and what do they each bring to this program?
So I feel like I have a great staff. Obviously I'm biased, but I feel I have the best staff in the area. These are guys that have been with us now for 4 years, anywhere from 4 to 8 years, 7 years, excuse me. My assistants, Jeff Shaheen, on varsity, and Ralph Naples. These guys have been with me for a long time. Jeff kind of oversees the offensive side of it. Ralph oversees the defensive side of it. These guys put in a lot of time. They're very in tune with our players. I'm more old school in my teaching. I'm kind of loud, and we're very honest with our team. We're very honest with one another. I think when you've had our success and you developed our culture, you can have that kind of relationship with your players back and forth. Those guys do a great job for me. Jabri Carter is our head JV coach. This will be his 3rd year with it. He does an outstanding job. He brings a ton of experience, was a great player in his time. Was a former previous assistant at Liberty High School. Jerron Howe will assist on JV in varsity. These guys are all also varsity assistants as well. He was a former freshman coach for us, was a great player at Cardinal Mooney. Our freshman coach, Johnny Mikos, is a former player of mine. His assistant, Mark Phillips, is a former player of mine. We're adding Anthony Ritter, who just got done playing at Westminster for 4 years and played at South Range, was a great player there. He's really our only newcomer to the SAF. And we have a lot of alumni that come back during open gyms, our fall workouts, our summer and spring workouts. They come in during the winter. They want to come into practice and help out with whatever capacity they can. We have a lot of people that are very, very, very invested in our program and the success of our program. You know, we have 12 district championships. I think Poland is the only school that has more with 13. I could be mistaken. You know, you don't get to have the success we've had as a basketball program without having the commitment of our staff and our alumni.
And that Shaheen family, a lot of coaches, coaches.
He's a volleyball coach and whatnot. Yep.
Lacrosse. I think she coaches volleyball, and then she coaches junior high and more in JFK for basketball, and then obviously comes back from Mooney for lacrosse in the spring. So.
Oh yeah, they're invested.
They're invested. That's for sure. Could you ever think of yourself coaching 3 different sports in a season?
I did baseball when I was an assistant coach at Ursuline. I helped out with the JV baseball, and that was fun. But being a head basketball coach, I mean, the April, May, June, and July are really more important than the fall. You know, if you don't have buy-in and commitment during that time of year, then kiss your winter season goodbye, in my opinion. So with that being said, like coaching baseball, that'd be no chance. Like coaching football, I've never been a part of a football program in high school, so that would be out. You know, that wouldn't be success. That wouldn't be good for me. The commitment and the time that we put in, and that's a lot. I can't ever see myself doing that. That wouldn't be fair to my wife or
Right.
my other family, my parents and whatnot, and all that stuff too.
Well, Coach, we're glad that you're able to take the time to be with us on Running Point today and giving us a preview of the Mooney season. We can't wait to cover you all year, and that 145 slot's always open as long as it keeps bringing you guys wins.
It's good luck, man. We got to keep doing it.
All right, Coach. We'll see you soon. Thank you for the time.
Appreciate it, Anthony.
Coach Kerry Palermo wraps up the show, and we'll wrap it up because we are past 2 o'clock. But once again, that's okay. It just gets you a little bit closer to the power hour from 3 to 4, getting you ready for more playoff football over the weekend. Don't forget also tonight, because South Range won last week, there's another South Range live Coach's Corner and Player Profile show from Legends Food and Drink tonight, starting at 7:30 with DJ Oakley. So if you're out tonight, make sure to head over to Legends. Check out that establishment if you haven't been there already, and then check out some great interviews with Coach Dan Yeagley and players of that football team. With that, we will sign off, and we'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet.